Hi friends, it's Carol from Crinkle Path Journals, and guess what? I've got another cold. I guess this is part of being a nana. We had our granddaughter over last week a little bit, and then my husband took care of her yesterday, and she was with us last night. She has a little cold, so guess what? I've got a little cold. We are just sharing all the fun and all the germs, apparently. I've worked in the school system for years and years, and I think staying home during COVID killed my immunity, because even though I've been back in the classrooms, I never used to get sick this easily. But new baby, new germs, we're going to roll with it. Sorry if my voice is annoying. We're going to do some memory keeping today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really want to express thanks because you are amazing friends. Thank you for those of you who have already done VRs, video responses, for my 9 to 5 to 55 hashtag celebration giveaway. That's coming up quick. The drawing will be on the 28th, so make sure you're getting your entries in soon because that closes on the 26th. And for those of you who are new and have subscribed recently, welcome. Thank you. If you're new here today, please subscribe. I hope you find something you love and want to come back and watch again. Memory keeping is my jam. I love all things junk journaling, but this is the biggie for me. Journaling and relationships with some amazing Christian friends has healed my heart, and I now get to journal all the good stuff that honestly I couldn't remember a lot of it for a long time. And so this is such a pleasure for me to share with you some positive memory keeping in my altered cookbook junk journal. In the world of junk journals, ephemera equals memories to me. And so I love making these for myself, for my future generations to hopefully read, enjoy, and take some laughs at their nana. And then also that I can make them for others. Over the years, I've made a lot of custom journals. Those don't always get to be filmed, but it's a privilege to take either their ephemera or find ephemera that meets their needs and make journals like that. It really is so important to me. Today, hang out because we're going to talk about 80s slumber parties. So in the 80s, which was pretty much upper elementary through high school, we did a lot of sleepovers. I went to a small Christian academy, and I ran with a fairly conservative, safe crowd of friends who weren't terribly rowdy or partiers, other than a good sleepover with a movie and some snacks and maybe an outing the next day. And we did that a lot for birthdays. And movies were a huge part of sleepovers. So in my last memory keeping video, which was the roller skating rink video, which it's been a while, folks. Boy, a lot has happened in the last couple months that's kept me away from journaling. But I'm back, and I'm hoping it just gets smoother by the day as I get closer to retirement. When I was here doing the last one, I asked if you would comment a favorite movie from sleepovers or a favorite movie in the 80s that you'd watched with your girlfriends. And a lot of you sent in entries, and I agree with a lot of them. They're great. I wanted to get things on the page to reflect some of the things we did at sleepovers and get the movies down. I found this very 1983 notepad. I thought I would use that as my background today if I can get it to cover. I think it'll just cover, made like a glove to cover those other words. Asparagus. A lot of asparagus going on here. Not that I mind asparagus, but not for my journal. So did you have sleepovers when you were a young teen? It doesn't have to have been in the 80s. Was that a thing? Are sleepovers still a thing? I know Angela's daughter has friends over and she talks about that every once in a while. I don't remember how old I was when I started having sleepovers, but I think the first sleepover I ever went to, I was pretty young, probably 9 or 10, and it was a birthday party for a girl in the class below mine, but my best friend and her sister were really good friends with this family, and because it was a small school, I think they invited all the second and third graders or third and fourth graders. And it was a pool party, and we slept over on the living room floor. And my friend, it was the first time I'd ever had a sleepover, and I realized that she ground her teeth and it kept me awake all night. Oh, look, Grease, beauty school dropout. And then on this side, we've got the prom. I always thought they should bring back proms like this. I guess kids wouldn't think that's cool. Homemade decorations, hire a DJ, deck out the gym. Nope, they have to rent banquet halls in the city, and it's all a big deal now. I thought this would be a good pocket to put some more ephemera or listen. I've got this totally awesome Valley Girl card that can go in here. That was one of the movies. It's a little tight. Let me shave it down a smidge. Oh, I was talking about my friend grinding her teeth. So I went on from there to be a non-sleeper at sleepovers. So pretty much sleepovers made me absolutely exhausted because I don't know what, I probably was a little bit of a worrywart and just didn't relax or sleep well at somebody else's house, but they were fun. It's still a little wide for the page, but I think we'll be okay. I need to make a hinge. I know I use some pink in the back for the pink ladies, but I think we'll go with red on the front because of the primary colors on that. So if you didn't answer in my last video and you had a favorite movie from the 80s, you didn't have to be a teenager at a sleepover, but if you had a favorite movie that you watched over and over in the 80s, because, you know, those VHS rentals were really easy to go get it again. My husband, when we were dating in the 80s, he worked at Blockbuster for a while. Oh, that's not going to work. I got to put more on. So I don't know if I've talked about this, but my husband, then boyfriend, and I were in a very bad car accident when I was 16 and he was 17. There's a string in there. It's not letting me make it stick. And one of the perks of him working at a video rental place is that when I was in bed for a couple months, he brought me movies every day. I was entertained at the very least. I also read through, I think, almost the entire collection of John Steinbeck stories. I think we had read Of Mice and Men for an English assignment, and then I went on to read Cannery Row and Red Pony and several of his works during that time. But I'm getting off the subject here. If you had a favorite 80s movie, please put it in the comments below and tell me something that you did at sleepovers if you had sleepovers when you were a teenager, even if it wasn't the 80s. I really love it when you guys share memories in the comments. It helps me get to know you better. When we share memories, it just really blesses me to hear your good stories. It helps us to be grateful a lot of times for the things we did have, because goodness knows, most of us didn't have perfect lives growing up. We can always make it better. And who is it? Is it, oh gosh, I'm going to forget who says this. It sounds like an Hazelism. It's never too late to have a good childhood. So if that's your saying, and I am remiss in not remembering who says that, please own it in the comments, because I absolutely love it. The thing with washi tape is throwing more at it doesn't necessarily make it better, does it? This may need repair or sewing or something to hold it in. It's just not that sticky. Well, I have some cards, both the awesome card and this ET card and this Superman 2 card are from Maggot Chasing Retro, and they were in Happy Mail. I wanted to tuck these two, well, actually, I should probably put these on the page because they're awfully fun, and I don't want to cover them up. Let's see, how do I want to do that? Maybe I'll get tags and make little pockets to put them in. I have this sold tag. I'm thinking maybe it's got a split in the middle. I think that was so they could slip it over a hanger or something. How do I get in there? Probably should have used my paper cutter, huh? I'm going to make it just a little longer so that it kind of acts like a belly band kind of thing. Okay, and then this one, we'll pull the bottom off and we'll glue it, let's see, just partially on. It's going to be wider than that. It's not quite wide enough. I need a bigger tag. Okay, Carrie just sent these to me in Happy Mail, and they're already coming in use. I have Sunday Snappy Snippets, which I also have not done much of lately. My tips and tricks in less than 10 minutes. Something junk journaling related, and it's an open collab, so if you want to share a tip or trick for junk journaling in under 10 minutes, you're welcome to use that hashtag. Make a video where the tutorial part is under 10 minutes. The video doesn't have to be under 10 minutes, but just the tutorial part. But I have one where I took things and cut them and made ephemera out of just one thing. Made pockets with just one thing. So like this, where I cut the bottom off and then glue it back together. Probably need to wait for the glue to dry, but this will just fit in there. And yes, it'll hang out, but I don't want it to be glued onto something because it's got this on the back. Let's talk about some movies. I think Superman was definitely one of them that we like to watch at sleepovers. Superman 1 and 2 came out with Christopher Reeves in the 80s. Grease was a big one. Anything with singing and dancing was a big hit. We went to a conservative Christian school. There were no dances, but we would dance our hearts out at the sleepovers, right? Okay, I'm going to try taking this off and gluing it because it's not staying. I don't know why I can't talk and do that at the same time, but hold on. Yeah, so we loved the dancing movies. Flashdance. I think I was a little older when I finally got to watch Flashdance. We loved Fame and Footloose. There was kind of the storybook classics. I loved Fairy Tale Theater, Neverending Story, Princess Bride. I was a little older when that one came out too. Let's see, what else? Hopeless Romance, of course. Superman was a bit that way. Can't Buy Me Love. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There was a little bit of hopeless romance in there, but that was also a great comedy. Okay, Glue, do your thing. I loved War Games with Matthew Broderick. Another one that was a little kind of teen coming of age was The Outsiders. Goonies. Oh, that was a fun one. Karate Kid. I didn't watch 16 Candles till I was 16. And then, like I said, I ran with a pretty conservative crowd. Honestly, I was kind of embarrassed when I watched that movie. I must have been just not quite ready for that kind of humor. But you gotta love Molly Ringwald. Pretty in Pink. Ended up loving her as an actress. My birthday retirement challenge, the 9 to 5 to 55, has a nod towards Dolly Parton because Angela bought us Dolly Parton cake mix boxes to make journals out of. And Carrie said, what about 9 to 5 with your 9 to 5 job you're leaving? And that's how I came up with the 9 to 5 to 55 hashtag. 9 to 5 was an 80s movie about 3 women who kind of take revenge on the man at the office. They're underappreciated, never promoted, and it's pretty cartoony violence humor kind of stuff. But it's a great one. And it's free on Netflix right now. If you haven't watched it since the 80s and you like a little slapstick comedy, that's where it's at. I was not a horror movie person. Could not watch horror movies. And for 8th grade, I went to a slumber party for the whole class. Was at one of the family's houses. They had a big pool and they had games, and basically we weren't gonna sleep there. It was gonna be an all-night party where we just played, and they showed American Werewolf in London. Oh my goodness. I had nightmares. I should not have watched it. I should have known better. And I know better now. I just can't watch that kind of stuff. I have too vivid an imagination. And even though it's completely fake, I just can't do it. It haunts me for days and months. And I slept with stuffed animals around my neck for weeks after my dad accidentally let me see In Search of Vampire. So I should know not to do that. Anyway, didn't care for it. But all that to say, when Thriller came out, it was music and dance. This was so well done, even though it was horror of a kind. And so it didn't freak me out. Poor Meg, she shared with me on my roller skating page that she was at the roller rink and they rolled the movie screen down and showed it in the corner, and she cried and had her parents pick her up, or was upset. I don't know if she cried, but she's younger than I am. Almost a decade younger, I would say. So yeah, I can see how it would be frightening for a little kid. But I think we rented it at one of the slumber parties at my house, and we watched it over and over and over and worked on getting all the moves down, and I couldn't tell you now how it goes entirely. But when the scene in 13 Going on 30 with Jennifer Gardner, where she goes to the office party and she does the Thriller dance and gets everybody to join in, hilarious. It wasn't just us. I mean, I think Jennifer Gardner's about just a little younger than us. But in the movie, she was only 13. It's kind of like remember Tom Hanks' Big, where he's a little kid, but he gets stuck in his full grown size body. It's kind of one of those movies. Anyway, it's cute. And I was like, I could have done that at some point in my life. So the other thing that goes with movies is food and party games. And probably one of the reasons why I didn't want to sleep is because some of the party games were to play tricks on you when you fell asleep, putting toothpaste on you or supposedly putting your hand in warm water to make you wet the bed. What were some of those things that happened in your slumber parties? What were the shenanigans that were pretty tame, didn't cause any harm other than not sleeping? Well, the favorite food at sleepovers for us was Taco Bell. And I was a Taco Bell taco girl when I was little. We didn't eat out very often. My parents would sometimes get Taco Bell when they would pick me up from school to go to a doctor's appointment. And it was either Taco Bell or it was McDonald's. And that was really the only time I ever got to go out to lunch and eat fast food. And so now it's kind of funny when I get sick, it's the time I want to be eating healthy is when I get cravings for fast food. Isn't that crazy how it's so tied to those old memories? Let's see. Well, I would only eat tacos, and then I went to a slumber party, and the mom ran to Taco Bell and got the family pack of bean burritos. So I don't know if it was like a dozen burritos or something. And it was the only food they had. And so I ate it and I loved it. Onions, red sauce, cheese, and refried beans. So I had to look up some 80s Taco Bell stuff. I'm going to let it hang off the page and cut it off here. This menu cracked me up because it was actually from the Midwest. And they actually put the pronunciations, like you wouldn't know how to say burrito or frijoles or tostada or enchilada or taco. And that's really thin magazine paper. And so the glue is showing through, but I think it'll be fine when it's dry. Okay, and I'm going to clip these on. Of course, we probably had our share of sugar and cake and ice cream and all that good stuff. I remember my friend Stephanie, I mentioned her in one of my last videos, that her birthday was always in September. Of course, always in September. Once her birthday's in September, it's always going to be there. I said that in the last video and laughed at myself. So she had the first birthday of the school year, and we would just have gotten back to school at Labor Day, and then it would be time for her birthday, and her mom always did a sleepover for her. And then the next day we would go to a movie or we'd go to the lake. Her parents would do a picnic or something for us, and we'd take those blow up floaties and hang out at the lake on the beach. That was the first place I ever made homemade tacos. Like, my mom knew about tacos from Taco Bell, right? But she never cooked them at home. And I remember watching her mom cooking the tacos and thinking, I could do that. Like, I didn't know you could make them at home with the little packet of seasoning and all that. So going to a sleepover kind of opened your eyes to the way other families lived. And I know now that's a big reason why people don't let their kids go to sleepovers. But back then it was pretty safe. Like, our families all knew each other. A lot of us went to the same church. I don't know if that tape is going to stay. Well, I'm going to do some journaling on the back of this. I might need some white paper on it. I know what I'll use. I think I got this paper from Angela. She's been selling off all of her vintage wrapping paper. And this really screamed 80s to me. So let's go ahead and back this with that. And then I can write on it. Oh, look, there's even cards in there. That's cute. That'll be fun. I think she plans to have some more at the live sale tomorrow. So if you haven't had your fill of vintage paper, please join us at the live sale. It's tomorrow afternoon, Central Time, on Angela the Traveling Crafter's channel. 4 o'clock Central. Sorry. All right, we'll get a corner of this. So did I miss your favorite movie? And it's okay. If your favorite movie was American Werewolf in London, I won't hold it against you. I just won't watch movies with you. Oh, goodness. All right. Now I can take some time. I'm going to write my movies on the back of here and maybe write a couple other memories on the back of the tag. And then I will give you a little flyover and see if there's anything else in the last minutes that I want to add. Thank you so much for coming along today, and I can't wait to hear what movies you loved in the comments, or what games you like to play on each other, tricks you like to play on each other. And were you a sleeper at a sleepover, or were you the one who couldn't sleep like me? Take care, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.